Last night, at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the number one terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him.
That was President Donald Trump, January 3rd, 2020. Qasem Soleimani was an Iranian general and the country's most powerful commander. Later in his remarks, President Trump noted that under Soleimani's leadership, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and its Quds Force targeted, injured, and murdered hundreds of American civilians and servicemen. In the months after that January 2020 announcement, President Trump cited the killing repeatedly. In this episode of C-SPAN's The Weekly, coming shortly after President Biden launched his own successful raid on another terrorist leader, we'll remember how the Soleimani assassination was noted during the following month's State of the Union address and on the 2020 presidential campaign trail. The U.S. military killed Qasem Soleimani on January 3rd, 2020. A month later, on February 4th, Donald Trump gave his third and what would be his last State of the Union address. This clip comes right after President Trump mentions Army Staff Sergeant Christopher Hake. On Easter Sunday of 2008, Sergeant Hake was out on patrol in Baghdad when his Bradley fighting vehicle was hit by a roadside bomb.
The terrorist responsible for killing Sergeant Hake was Qasem Soleimani, who provided the deadly roadside bomb that took Chris's life. Soleimani was the Iranian regime's most ruthless butcher, a monster who murdered or wounded thousands of American service members in Iraq. As the world's top terrorist, Soleimani orchestrated the deaths of countless men, women, and children. He directed the December assault and went on to assault U.S. forces in Iraq, was actively planning new attacks when we hit him very hard. And that's why last month, at my direction, the U.S. military executed a flawless precision strike that killed Soleimani and terminated his evil reign of terror forever.
2 weeks later, February 21st, 2020, on the campaign trail, President Trump told a Las Vegas rally about the killing.
We just took out 2 weeks ago the world's top terrorist, Qasem Soleimani of Iran, ending his evil reign of terror forever. He's the father of the roadside bomb. When you see our beautiful people walking around with no legs, they're walking and trying to walk so hard, and they're really in rough shape. They have incredible the job the doctors do at Walter Reed and some of these hospitals. And they get them to a point where sometimes they really can. They walk around, but it's hard. And they lose legs and they lose arms. That was Soleimani. He's the father of the right. He loved the roadside bomb. He thought it was a great thing. Where is he now? Soleimani. And I'll tell you what, you know who's happy about it? The people of Iran are happy, and even the leaders of Iran, because the leaders of Iran were afraid of him, okay?
And 1 week after that, February 28th, 2020, in Charleston, South Carolina, another Soleimani mention.
And we recently took out the world's top terrorist, Qasem Soleimani, ending his evil reign of terror forever.
The next day, another political event and another mention of Soleimani, February 29th, 2020, at the Conservative Political Action Conference. And for President Trump, this time a more insulting description of the terrorist leader.
Soleimani was they call him the father of the roadside bomb. He thought it was great. Oh, the great bomb. And, you know, he thought it was great. It kept getting bigger and more sophisticated. One young man, he said, it was my last day in Afghanistan, and they had the mine detectors. And he said, I trusted this man with my life. He was the best. I've never seen anything like it. He could detect those. We felt so safe. But unfortunately, his last day, they made him out of plastic so you couldn't detect him. And it went off, killed the man who was the detector, and badly, badly injured a lot of people. And he was one of them. And he said, think of it, sir. I said, why did it go off? He said, because they made it out of plastic, and the plastic doesn't get detected by the metal detector. And that was the last day, and he lost his legs. But we took that son of a bitch out, didn't we, huh? Should have been done a long time ago. That should have been done a long time ago. That should have been done a long time ago.
President Trump offered a more straightforward description during an August 19, 2020 press conference on Iran.
I imposed the toughest ever sanctions on Iran, and this has caused great difficulty for them, giving money to terrorist organizations, and if they do, they'll have hell to pay. Earlier this year, I ordered the strike that took out the world's #1 terrorist, Qasem Soleimani.
And finally, Qasem Soleimani made an appearance in President Trump's farewell speech, January 19th, 2021.
We stood up to the oppressive Iranian regime and killed the world's top terrorist, Iranian butcher Qasem Soleimani.
And now a bonus clip. We've been hearing President Trump talk about killing Qasem Soleimani. But in his February 4th, 2020 State of the Union address, he also mentioned another U.S. military kill.
3 years ago, the barbarians of ISIS held over 20,000 square miles of territory in Iraq and Syria. Today, the ISIS territorial caliphate has been 100% destroyed, and the founder and leader of ISIS, the bloodthirsty killer known as al-Baghdadi, is dead.
Which brings us to the present, a new president, and a second bonus clip. In early 2022, President Biden announced the death of the global ISIS leader who took over from Baghdadi.
Last night, operating on my orders, the United States military forces successfully removed a major terrorist threat to the world, the global leader of ISIS, known as Haji Abdullah. He took over as leader of ISIS in 2019 after the United States counterterrorism operation killed al-Baghdadi. Since then, ISIS has directed terrorist operations targeting Americans, our allies and our partners, and countless civilians in the Middle East, Africa, and in South Asia.
President Biden's announcement was on February 3rd, 2022. Less than a month later, on March 1st, 2022, President Biden is scheduled to deliver his first State of the Union address. Will he mention that terrorist killing, like President Trump did in his final State of the Union address? Listen to the speech live on the C-SPAN networks to find out. That's it for this episode of C-SPAN's The Weekly. A reminder, you can do your own searches in the C-SPAN video library for President's remarks on terrorism, for State of the Union addresses, for anything else you'd like. Just go to cspan.org and use the search bar on top, all for free. Thanks for listening, and happy searching.